Jesus, damn mosquitoes are killing me. Yo, let's talk about sad. Let's talk about, I like to call it seasonal depression. Of course, the mental health people want to call it something different, but we'll get into it. Welcome to Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter, and the A stands for always learning. Look, there's something called, I like to call it let's keep it simple, seasonal depression. They call it seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder. Now, I have something called SAD. I keep it simple: stress, anxiety, and depression. APA calls it the seasonal affective disorder. Anyway, seasonal depression occurs around this time of year. It is what, October? Yeah, it's October. It's getting darker. It's getting cooler. The body knows something's going on, so it makes the body respond differently. Let's say that the hormones are changing, the things are changing inside of your body. Your body has a clock. It's a body clock. You can't change it, right? So this fact that your body has this clock, it knows something is going on. It knows there's a change. Just like the birds know things are changing, the trees know things are changing. Your body knows things are changing. You don't need to be told by a calendar that it's getting colder and things are changing, and that causes hormones and different things in your body to change, and that's where the seasonal depression comes from. Especially as it's getting darker sooner, so that affects the whole melatonin in you, and it changes a lot of things. A lot of things are changing, right? So, with this seasonal depression that a lot of men are going through, women too, but right now is a men's channel. One of the ways of combating this, they talk about eating differently and stuff like that, and know that it's going on and blah, blah, blah. But one thing they also talk about is writing. The same thing when I was talking about Pam, when I talk about the basic mindset training, is writing. You got to write these things down. You have to get that energy off of your body. There's no way of getting around this. People are like, I don't want to write. I don't want to journal. I want people to read it, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, we'll continue to go through your bullshit. Continue to go through it. Because I'm not licensed. But you can go to any therapist to tell you need a journal. You need something to write something down. You need to get these thoughts out of you. Any therapist or psychiatrist, whatever, worth their weight and whatever, it's going to tell you, you got to write this stuff down. Y'all don't want to write stuff down. You don't want to write this. I don't want to do this. You want to magically wake up and be better. It doesn't work that way. I promise you, it doesn't work that way. And for you who think it does, tell me how that's working out. Well, it's working. I'm doing better. No, you're not. No, you're not. I can guarantee you're not. I can be 99.99% sure your life is the same dumpster fire it was a year ago today. And it will be the same dumpster fire it's going to be a year ago from now, and so on, if you don't do something like writing things down. How do you change your mindset? I told you how to change your mindset. Basic mindset training. Make your bed. Which actually, the routine for that basic mindset training is also one of the defenses against seasonal depression. You staying in the routine, it pushes you through that. Your routine is going to push you through. Your routine that became a habit takes 66 days for a routine to become a habit. It's going to push you through that depression. It's going to push you through it. Depression is a mood. Moods are like seasons. They come and they go. But you can people can be in moods for years, sometimes decades. There are people who graduated high school or whatever back in the 20-something years ago, and they're in the exact same position they are today. Why? Their mood didn't change. That goes back to reps, religion, environment, people, and social media. If you sit in that same place, you're going to be in that same place. You have to, you got to write things down, and you got to move. That's how you're going to get through this depression. It's common. It's normal. It's like whenever the clocks change back, it's going to be a whole bunch of nonsense then, because now it's going to be like an acknowledgement that things are going wrong, and it affects people all the time. They have studies on this. Human beings are cyclical. What does cyclical mean? It means we're just cycle. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. Every year is the same shit. You didn't notice that yet? Nothing changes year to year unless you change it. Halloween's still the same, Christmas still the same, Thanksgiving's still the same, New Year's is still the same. All these holidays are still the fucking same. Kids still get out of school, kids go to school, da, da, da. All of it's the same. Unless you make the difference and you make the changes. Seasonal depression. You got to do that yourself. Nobody's going to come and save you, man. Nobody's going to come and save you. This isn't Disney. This isn't Marvel. You're stuck unless you decide you want to go in a different direction. Decide I want to do something different. Well, then at that time, today is someday. Today is one day. You have to do it right then and there. There's no waiting. What do you think you're going to wait for if something's going to happen? That's why I don't believe in motivation and inspiration. I was going to make a whole video of this, but I'm going to go ahead and dump it in here right now. I don't believe in motivation and inspiration. I think they're bullshit. If your life isn't so much of a dumpster fire that you want to do something different, motivation and inspiration don't work. Because people who've been going to church for 20, 30 years and their lives are still goddamn flaming dumpster fires. It doesn't work. Losing weight doesn't work. Getting a better job doesn't work. That's motivation. Yeah, I need to leave this place. 3 years later, they're still at the same goddamn place. Why? Motivation and inspiration are temporary. They're temporary. They're like emotions. They're temporary. You in church and you leave church, you go to Golden Corral, you go home, take your shoes off, relax, turn football on, gone. Same thing when people there's people who constantly go to these motivational classes and motivational this and keep going to these places over and over to get motivation. Then they go home and it just dies down. Because they're not around people who are motivated. They're in the same reps, religion, environment, people on social media. It's a waste of time. It's a waste. But some odd reason, people still do it. They'll be in church this weekend. They'll be back in the routine. It's hard to break that routine. Hard to break that habit. Once it's locked in, it's hard to break out of it. Depression is real. Depression is very real. It's very real. But we don't have time to deal with it. It's something Andrew Tate said. Andrew Tate said, yeah, depression ain't real. But he cleaned it up and it's like, depression is real, but he doesn't dwell in depression. Being men, we don't have time to dwell in depression. It should have got off the pot for us. It's a wrap. If you dwell in depression, there's always a bridge somewhere in Atlanta, and I'm sure somewhere in Pittsburgh or anywhere around this country, especially California, there is a place for you to sit for the rest of your life. No one's coming to rescue you. You can sit in one spot under a bridge for the rest of your life. No one will know you're there. No one's checking for you. They're just not. So what's your plan? What's the plan? I want to get motivated. I want to be inspired. It's going to die down. Why? You're in the same place with the same people doing the same thing. You'll be right back. That's when they say your 5 closest friends are going to be, I'll show you the 6. This depression thing is funny here. The ambulance. Anyway, this depression thing is real, man. Y'all got to work this shit out yourselves. Y'all got the basic mindset training. I mean, what more do you want? If your life right now is so great, you don't need this, great. But if you do, what are you going to do? Here is your wake-up call. What are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to start. Okay. I'll see you a year from now. You'll be like, hey, if I just started that, I'd have been done by now. No shit. Motivation, inspiration, seasonal depression. You got to have a routine. You got to have a habit. You got to push through this and keep doing the same thing you're doing. And in today's world, I listen to the men who I talk to and the men I actually listen to online. They're all going through the same shit. They don't feel like there's any self-worth. Nobody's really checking for them. Nobody really cares for them, whether it's family or friends. And they just feel some type of way. They feel the emptiness. Why do men feel the emptiness? Because men need to see productivity. Men need to be doing something. This is not a world for men. It may be a man's world, it's not a world for men. Men want to be productive. We want to see something done. When you work and you don't see nothing done, something's Something goes on in your mind as a man when you work and don't see your productivity. Something clicks. That's when you have men who build buildings and farms and different stuff like that, and they're just like going through it, and they're tired and they're weary, but they look up and they see the work that they've done. Like people who cut grass, and they're like, oh, they loading the truck up, they turn around and they look at all that grass, and this is like, yeah, this is good. It does something to you. You're tired of shit, but you see what you've done. In today's world, you work hard, you go home, and it's like, do you come back and do the same thing tomorrow? And then to some people, they're okay with that. But there's a lot of group of people who aren't okay with that, and those are the people who are having all the problems. I'm just trying to address this issue. You need to get into a habit. You need to get into a routine, whether it's working out, you gotta get outside. You gotta get outside more. Work out. You gotta write your thoughts down. You gotta limit your social media. If all the bullshit is on social media, start limiting it down. I listen to mainly audiobooks, or I'm looking at people who are farming, or I do listen to some motivational stuff just to hear what they're saying, so I can take their stuff, and just to hear what they're talking about, because they're talking about the same thing but in a different way. I like to hear what they're saying so I can break it down and can give it to you in a more digestible manner than using all these words and phrases and you're just like, the hell is he talking about? Make your bed, get a journal and planner, limit your social media. This seasonal depression is real. It is real, but you have to get through this process. Keep the routine going no matter what. That's all I do. I keep the routine. I think I made a video. You saw the video with me at the truck. It's the same thing every time. You get just keep going through it. Eventually, it's going to subside. It's going to go away. I promise that.